Good morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on this Tuesday. The short week. I hope you guys had a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. It's kind of nice to get a day off. Of course, now we all got to get retrained and get back to work. But the good news is, hey, it's already Tuesday. Our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. And, we got to get, where do we start? War or no war all weekend. I'm sure all of you did what I did. Tried to spend the least amount of time possible hearing any news. I don't want to hear anything. Is the mood of the country is interesting. When you look at stuff like University of Michigan and consumer sentiment and all of these things, it's hard to explain because this is something, believe it or not, they've been tracking this for decades, right? This isn't one of these, it's at an all-time record low, but it's not one of these, it's at an all-time record low from, like a year ago or 2 years ago, no, decades. This is how tight everything is, and I think there's a lot of confusion. You obviously have the people at the lower end, they're getting squeezed, right? The people in the middle, which tends to be, a lot of your self-employed, right? They're getting squeezed, right? They're getting squeezed by higher prices, but they're also being squeezed there's less people, getting their carpets clean, as an example. They're putting off whatever it may be, right? The caterers out there are like, there's less people having a get together or companies spending on this or that. Then you've got, right, the AI crowd, right? If you're fortunate enough to have extra money, you buy anything AI, right? You're like, it's okay. It's weird, right? And then, of course, you got the whole war thing. And I tried to avoid all of it this weekend. But by, yesterday rolls around, and normally I'm going to be at work, so you start paying attention. And everywhere you looked, we've got a deal. There's going to be a deal. It's a deal with Iran. And then I read what they say the deal's going to be, and I'm like, I don't know about that. And then last night, we are, quote, defensive bombing Iran. Yeah, we launched some missiles and blew up a couple of boats that, I didn't know that they had any boats left, but they said they were getting ready to put more mines in the Strait of Hormuz, and I'm like, God, that doesn't sound like a deal to me. The Iranians now are saying that they may retaliate, but we had everybody out. The president was out. Little Marco was out saying that, we're close. We're not quite there yet. And the Iranian Foreign Ministry, no deal will be reached if the U.S. makes enriched uranium handover a demand. I mean, I'm already like, let's just get it over with, right? Whatever it is that we're going to do, let's just get it done now, right? I'm exhausted from it, right? I mean, like, you ruined the whole Memorial Day weekend, and if you believe the president, then we're super close. But the Iranians, if you listen to them, they're like, no, we're not doing any of that stuff. at this point, like I said, let's just get it over with. I've never heard of defensive strikes when we haven't been attacked first, but that's just me. I mean, okay, fine. I don't care. You know what? I don't even care. Just stop torturing us with deal or no deal, especially when, okay, like this is what, deal or no deal, like I don't even know, what is it, 50? 60? I mean, we're almost into June. We have, all right, hold on, I've got some breaking news. Iranian leader is calling for Muslim unity. Death to America will become the slogan. Okay, here we go. So apparently we've got nowhere. Death to America and death to Israel. The rallying cry for the slogans of Muslims of the oppressed world. So there you have it. I guess that's that's about as clear as it can get. I do have other reports that the U.S. Navy may be starting back Project Freedom. Remember Project Freedom? We are going to escort some ships through the Strait of Hormuz. And the Iranian military says it shot down some U.S. drones. I don't know. Looks like the war's starting again. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on this Tuesday. Yep. And so I guess now can we say it's going to be no deal? Let's look here at the markets. The Dow is down just under 100 points. The S&P is up 48, but that's off the highs here. So we'll see. We'll keep watching here. The Nasdaq's still up almost 300 points. On the whole AI thing. The 10-year note was in the 440s. Now it's back into the 450s, and it's still down, but down just a tiny bit. We'll see what happens there. Crude oil was way down on the quote, we're going to have a deal right now. It's interesting. The U.S. NYMEX crude is down $2, well off of its lows at 94. But here's the difference. It's interesting. The rest of the world's like, yeah, no, this thing isn't going well at all. Brent is up almost $4.50. So normally you see NYMEX and Brent, they go together, right? If one's up, the other's up. If one's down, the other's down. Not at least so far today. Again, we'll see. But it does look like in the last, say, hour and a half, a big escalation after last night, the United States, quote, defensive strikes against Iran, and looks like this peace deal, if there ever was one, had fallen apart. Gold, of course, doing what gold does right now. So today's a down day. 45.10. I feel like we've been at 4,500 for like a week and a half now. Now, it gets to 46. Like yesterday, we were off. Gold was up 50, 60, 70 bucks because there was going to be a deal. So today there's like no deal. But it's down at 45.10. It's about if I'm right, I think I'm right. About where we were Friday, Thursday, right? All that stuff. Silver not as down. $76. Go out to allamericangold.com. There's a great video out there talking about the silver price and what's coming They're talking about $100 silver in July. You know what, guys? I don't know when, right? Whether it could be August, but this year, I don't see from a math. This is just math. How it doesn't. I don't know where all of the gold and all of the silver. I don't know where it's all going to come from. But in any event, we talked earlier about confidence, which continues to fall, and the present situation index falling by the biggest margin. And what that just means is, Jason, the consumer is like, hey, things are getting worse for me right now, right? I'm not talking about it's going to be worse in 3 months or 6 months. I'm talking about right now. And then the next biggest decline was expectation. So how do you feel now? Not great. How do you feel later, right? Yeah, even worse. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here. As again, I think people are like me. We're whatever we're going to do with Iran, let's just do it already, right? This whole deal, no deal thing. I think a lot of people are like, dude, I can't deal with it anymore, right? We need clarity.
You can't have support for the war until the shelves are half empty and gas prices are at $9 a gallon. That's what I see, Joe. I think people are going to be against any kind of war that makes no sense at all until their lives are very uncomfortable. You get people's lives uncomfortable, Joe, in this country, and they'll blow anybody up. There's already people that want to blow. Well, there's already a contingent in this country that wants to blow up Iran, anyways. It makes no sense. But you put the just that little bit of pain, and when I say pain and suffering, it's discomfort and inconvenience. You give discomfort and inconvenience to this country, they'll blow up anybody, Joe. So I don't know. Let's just see how long they close the Gulf, because let's just say it's not the Strait of Hormuz anymore. The Gulf is closed. It's blockaded. They couldn't brag about the blockade in Venezuela enough. It was live coverage around the clock about how awesome the blockade was. But they don't seem to talk about the Gulf blockade very much. They had to announce it because they did it. But where's that news? They still want to point at the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's fault, right, Joe? So,
yep.
If the consumer sentiment is the lowest in history, and if you're listening, low points were 1980 during inflation, 2022 during the inflation from the 2020 COVID, 2008 with the housing crash. These were low points, and it doesn't go back as far as the Depression. It goes back to 1952, but it's a good indicator.
But still, 1952, guys.
1952.
Right? We don't have a lot of data points that go back that far.
Right.
It's one of the longest running data points that we have. And again,
with all those economic stressors I mentioned, it's the worst right now. Right now is the worst. I can tell you, running this radio station, there's not a lot of people with money. People don't have it. People and what I
quiet here at Patriot, right? We talk about it right all the time. Here it is. We've got unprecedented, right, bubble mentality in Wall Street that we've seen so many times. I've listened, and the funny thing is people know it. You all know it, and yet people get paralyzed, right? They don't know what to do. Their nature is I'm just going to shut it down, right? I'm going to shut it down. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not adjusting my 401k. I'm not buying stuff. I'm not going to spend extravagantly. I'm just going to go to work every day, and I'm going to wait.
Yeah.
And that's one of the worst things to do. Don't wait. Don't procrastinate. Be involved. You know what's coming. We all know what's coming. I mean, heck, even CNBC is now finally starting to admit it. Andrew Ross Sorkin, who is one of the few, quote, actual journalists, he's actually a journalist, is like, oh, yeah, this is a bubble. And, of course, he says to us what we said. I can't tell you the day, right? I can't tell you the day. But there's no sound economic principle behind all of this. What there is what? Money printing. That's what's behind it all. This is what creates it.
But if you don't have a gas-efficient car right now, I don't know I don't know the gas
in
mileage.
Arizona, our gas price went down a little. We were down to $4.75 here. That's like a celebration.
Well, let's just see where it is here in the next month or two. I have a feeling it's going to be ugly. If you have I think it was a work van I was told about. I'll have to get the exact numbers. 12 miles to the gallon. It's one of those things where you move it for work. You have to go 20 miles to a job, and then you drive 20 miles back, and they put $20 of gas in, which was, they got a little bit more than 4 gallons, and that's 48 miles. 48 miles. So 20 and 20 miles. That's almost $20 of gas. If you have a gas guzzler or a work van or something that doesn't get good gas mileage.
Yeah, well, and again, that's the squeeze, right? Yep. And those work vans, right? They're heavy, right? You got all your stuff in there, and it's. I don't know. I will say this. Here's the problem now. We needed something done by May. We kept telling God something by May. Nothing good happens now, right? Because countries now are running out of excess reserves. Hey, we had stuff for a rainy day. We had some oil in storage. We had some gas and diesel and jet fuel in storage, and that storage is evaporating. We saw it last week. Listen, Japan sent more shock waves through the market. This looks like it's going to keep going. The shock waves are going to get worse, right? Europe now is like, I guess they're on the clock. They're like, well, best case. Now, this isn't every country in Europe. The best countries in Europe have maybe 90 days before all hell breaks loose. The lesser countries in Europe, Jason, they're not going to make it through June. They won't make it through June without having to have some form of rationing. And I don't know. There's an avalanche of price increases coming. Food is going to get really, really expensive. And it doesn't look like this thing's going to end anytime soon, based on what we just saw today. We're back to death to America, death to Israel after all of this stuff.
May 3rd was the last date that a ship from the Strait of Hormuz made it to America. So we're 24 days since the last ship that was coming here made it here. So the U.S. was at the Corolla. It was called the Corolla. I remember that. This is false, false scarcity. And Joe, it's pretty obvious to me. Nobody really wants to blow each other up, but they have a plan for whatever amount of inflation they need, which means the energy has to be choked. I mean, they're probably wondering, why aren't people using more gas? So hurry up and drink this up, man. We need to get this thing going. we need it to be more than $7 for 10 slices of cheese. Yeah, we should do that. We should do the cheese index.
Wow.
$7 for 10 slices of cheese.
Wheat is going to be horribly expensive. I don't know. It's interesting. Jason keeps bringing this up because what did I just say today? Dude, whatever you're going to do, go do it, right? Let's go already.
I think they've already done it.
Little Marco just came out on TV. The president's in no hurry. Right? We're not going to do a bad deal. The president's in no hurry. I'm like, guys, you do know what's going to happen, right? Right? It's not complicated. And Jason's right? How much more expensive do you want life to be for everybody? the longer this goes, the more expensive it's going to be. We've been saying for how long, if you actually want the enriched uranium, you're going to have to put troops into Iran, right? Because Iran says it every time, right? We come out and say, oh, no, Iran's going to give it up. And then all of a sudden, Iran's like, no, we're not. What are you talking about? We're not giving it up. I mean, today, listen to today. Iran is demanding $12 billion to restart. You want to even talk to us? We need $12 billion right now. Yeah.
And
by the way, death to America, right? You know, let's not forget that.
Probably has something to do with that crypto grab that happened a couple weeks ago, maybe. Iran wants that money back.
Maybe.
That was $80 billion.
But Jason's right. I guess we're in no hurry, guys. Things aren't expensive enough yet. We'll be back after the break.
Yes, ma'am, back.
800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on this Tuesday. Apparently, the reason for optimism over the Memorial holiday was nothing more than what we've seen for the last, 100 times. Apparently now, President Trump's going to host a cabinet meeting at Camp David on Wednesday in regards to the Iranian situation. We will get Wednesday, maybe an important day. We are going to get PCE on Wednesday, so another inflation number is going to, at least I think it's on Wednesday or Thursday. I think it's Wednesday, but if it's Thursday, Thursday we're going to get personal consumption. That's going to be one. We'll look at, a GDP type number. How is second quarter GDP coming? So far, not so good. It's another thing. So we didn't have great first quarter GDP. Not great at all. As a matter of fact, it wasn't very good. The second and third quarters are the big GDP quarters. And so far, it appears, based on consumer sentiment, that it's not going to be a great number. So we'll get a look at that. We'll also get personal income. Okay, so how's the consumer holding up with the inflation? We will get some Fed speak. That is going to be an interesting, we're going to get Kashkari later today. Dallas Fed Chief Logan tomorrow. I think we get Waller on Friday. So are we going to start hearing, as we have the new Fed chief now in Kevin Warsh, are we going to start hearing about inflation? We're going to get that PCE report on Wednesday. We're also going to get durable goods on Thursday. But Jason, are we going to finally start hearing Fed governors actually start calling for rate hikes? We've heard, Fed governors say, well, we want to wait and see. No one's actually really said we want to hike rates. It'll be interesting to see what Warsh is going to be up against as a lot of Fed speakers speak this week.
I still think they're going to lower rates. They shouldn't, but they're going to. It'll come up with something at some point. Whatever's going to blow up will blow up. They'll be like, oh, wait a minute, the markets are going to crash. We got to lower the rates. We got to print like crazy. But Joe, I've heard that. I've heard all the stammering about raising rates. Who did I hear? There was somebody who was likening this situation to one of the other crashes in the past where they were. Was it 08 housing crash? I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
They're talking about how we got to raise the rates. We got to raise the rates. We got to raise the rates. Crash, boom, lower the rates down to zero. I mean,
Don't forget,
man.
August of 07, Ben Bernanke had upset the markets. when he said, "Hey, we're probably going to have to raise interest rates at the next Fed meeting." Right? That sent the market into a tailspin. Eventually, everything came undone, didn't it? The whole housing bubble came undone. Lehman Brothers was out. Then Bear Stearns, right? We know what happened after that. And there are a lot of similarities between then and today, right? The consumer not feeling very confident. We didn't have this war, right? But it's not like we didn't have war, right? It was just, we were in
the middle of a elongated Iraq war that everyone were wondering, what are we doing?
Right. Remember, we had the playing cards, right? We're trying to get the ace of spades and the, whatever, the king of diamonds and all of this other nonsense.
By 2008, it was the surge. Remember the Bush, the last thing he did, he had the surge and all this, and the surge started to work. We were starting to win again, and because it just kept going and then the consumer sentiment was down. I mean, what were the consumers happy about? You had 9/11. Here you were in 2007, 2008, and you were still in the middle of a war 6 years later, and then crash.
Yeah, and a lot of people
raise
lost
rates,
their homes
crash
on top of it. Right?
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
So Kevin Warsh says raise rates. We may have a. Hey, they don't remember. That's almost 20 years ago. They won't remember. The one thing that's different is the stated inflation is higher this time. Whatever they say the inflation is higher than 2007-8.
And it has been widely publicized that Kevin Warsh is a big fan of what Alan Greenspan had done in the 90s, right? Remember, Alan Greenspan, the mastermind of the substitution method, right? Which is, we'll use beef. Beef's your example. Great example. Well, let's just not count the beef in inflation. Well, why not? Well, because it's expensive, so people will buy something else. So let's not count it. That's the substitution method. And what they would do and what they continue to do. Well, what's cheaper? Let's use that. Let's use pork, right? Or let's use chicken.
Bugs. This
right?
time around. This time around, right? Sawdust and bugs.
So Kevin Warsh is on the record essentially saying, hey, we're going to change the way we calculate inflation again. And obviously, why do they change it? Are they changing it because, well, gosh, inflation's just so low. It's actually higher than this, right? Let's make it so inflation's worse. No, they never, you know what? They never do that. They've never done that. Every time they change it, what do? How can let's figure out a way to where we can say publicly that inflation isn't that bad, right? How can we change it to where when we come out and we put out our reports that we can sit there and justify, see, we haven't destroyed the value of your dollar. No, we haven't destroyed it at all. We just need to tweak the way we count it. Then it'll be better. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on this Tuesday. Looks like we've gone backwards with Iran, and we're back to I don't mean to laugh, but death to America and death to Israel, and missiles flew today. I don't know, but apparently it's defensive in nature. I don't know. U.S. $20 U.S. $20 gold piece is $45.50 today. $45.50 at 800-951-0592. And I got to reiterate, not only about the stuff line, but we're not in a hurry, right? We're not in a hurry. We're just going to let everything get more expensive. Apparently, that's the plan, Jason, to win. Right? At what point? Right? Either take our crap and go home, right?
Yeah.
Take our crap and go home, or go in there and do what you're going to do.
I think they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. That's the whole point. They're doing what I think this is exactly what was supposed to happen. And by the way, if this all ends with sanctions end on Iran, then they played their part. They're a part of this. If this ends with ending sanctions on Iran, they are now a part of this. Now we have there is no nation state that will stop whatever economic mess needs to be blown up to create whatever economic situation that we see. It's really depressing. I saw an American bearded white guy from America. A journalist, and he went in and he went right into the celebrations that are happening in Iran. They're having celebrations there, and they are yelling "Death to America." And he's like, "What?" I'll just head right here. He's like, "Well, what does that mean? Why are you so mad?" He's like, and this is not just one guy he talked to. This was Iranian after Iranian after Iranian. They're like, "We do not hate the people of America. They're our brothers. We love them. We hate your government. We hate your military. We hate your bank and your financiers." This is what they said. The ones that could speak English, at least. And it's like, oh, that sounds familiar. That's exactly what most people want out of their country and their government. But they so I guess when they're for the most part when they're shouting "Death to America," the vast majority. And this guy hit Iranian after Iranian after Iranian. They don't want a war, right? Why do I get this bad feeling that Iran is really happy to have they've joined the club, so to speak? Why do I get this sinking feeling that maybe the leadership they took out was the old guard, Joe, or maybe they didn't actually kill all those leaders. Maybe they all got retired. They're on a friendlier beach in a friendlier country somewhere, hanging out with Maduro, right? But they closed the Strait of Hormuz. America and Iran closed the whole Gulf itself, and they're just sitting there like, "I think it's your fault." No, it's your fault. Well, I think we might have to bomb you. Yeah, but we might have to bomb you. We should just think about this for 3 more days. Yeah, that makes a lot of economic sense for the world. I mean, this is what we've been watching for a month now. I think we're going to have to bomb you. Yeah, that would be a good idea. We'd have to bomb back. Do we really want to do that? Well, let's think about it for 3 days. After 3 days, we better just blow each other up. When then you get to that day, it's like, hey, you know what? I think maybe we should push that out another couple of days. Maybe I got to take 18 billion. I'm Donald Trump. I'm going to take 18 billionaires to China now. Let's just wait on that war thing. We got business to do. Did you know that Trump took 18 billionaires with him when he went to China? 18 billionaires. Elon Musk, Larry Ellison, all of them.
Oh, yeah. All of those
took them all with him. I don't know if the president really. I have a feeling they just put the president at the kiddie table, and then all the grown-ups were speaking. I think that's what happened. They're negotiating financially what's going to happen if and when the Strait of Hormuz and the Gulf is opened back up. They're all going to. I think China wants to know. Okay, all right, billionaires, where do we place our money? We need to know, exactly what we're going to do. And then Donald Trump probably stood up. Should we bomb someone now? No. Sit down, Mr. Trump. We're not there yet. I know you're excited, but this is going to take a little longer. There's way too much oil out there, apparently. How can we inflate with all this glut of oil we have? I don't know. It sure feels like that's what 18 billionaires would be doing in China. I don't think they were talking about AI. That's what the TV said. AI. It's all about AI. Yeah, I don't know. They concentrate all their money into 6 stocks. It's economic nonsense.
I mean, it's like, right, housing, right? Everyone's housing. Everyone had all their money in the housing, right? The .com bubble, right? Anything .com,
yep.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, it's so predictable. But this one is. It's like torture, right? It's like torture. And when it first bombs start dropping? And last day of February, something like that?
February 28th, yeah.
Right?
Essentially, this is a March war. It's a March war.
April, now May.
May's almost done.
May's pretty much done. Now we're getting into June. And June, everybody says it. Really bad stuff starts happening in June, right? Which is Asia countries run out first. And by the way, by August, everyone but maybe the United States is going to be out.
Well, and a lot of the guys on the stock market, they have a saying, sell in May, walk away. Right? There's a lot of guys that say that. You know, and I think they've already sold. I think they've concentrated everything into a few stocks that they can easily manipulate. But I think 18 billionaires went to China to figure out, well, when are we going to drop a bomb on this market? Do we have to wait 6 months? How long does this thing have to be closed? How's your supply chains doing? You know?
Yeah.
That's what they were talking about. I'm sure of it. I know Bezos wanted to know about supply lines. He's Amazon. He needs to know exactly how am I get my stuff to everybody. Do I get some cheap gas?
800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on this Tuesday. $20 gold pieces, $45.50. The Dow now down 137, so getting a little worse. The NASDAQ and the S&P still positive. The 10-year note, 451. This divergence in oil, I don't know. Whatever it may be, oil in the U.S. down $2. Everywhere else up $4. But, yes, it does appear that the plan simply is let's keep trying to say we've got a deal and let this thing drag out week by week, month by month, until what point, right? That's the, I guess, right? I don't know. If enough of the world runs out of oil, do they then all decide, okay, now we need to attack Iran? I think that may be it, right? Maybe President Trump is like, I'm not going to do it by myself. I need everybody in the world to tell me to take Iran out, and I just got to wait until the pain is so great that you all beg me to do it. I don't know, Jason, that seems like maybe the most logical plan of all.
We don't really know what is actually happening, and
right.
The news here is absolutely false, and it's lies. I just don't really know what Iran actually is doing. Is Persia actually standing, or is Iran joining? That's the only thing. And because Iran really wanted to join the BRICS, I have a feeling that Iran, like Venezuela, is just looking to cash in a deal at this point. How many more sanctions do we need to deal with? You know, look at our brothers over there in the UAE. Look at Saudi Arabia. We want to live like those people. For better or for worse, whatever Iran's history has been, they have Western influence in that country, and there's probably a little bit of that, let's just get our piece of this. And if that's the case, then this is going to last as long as the world wants this inflation, how bad it's going to get with the energy side of things. And then whatever this is, or whatever it turns out to be, or however it ends, and Iran ends up having no sanctions, we're going to have economic inflation that's going to be severe because, Joe, how do you get out of 125% debt to GDP? There's only one way they've done it in the past. They did it during World War II. I don't know how they're going to do it this time, even if they get the Iranians to play ball. I think it's got to be severe. Doesn't it have to be much more severe than the 70s and 80s? Doesn't it have to be?
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be.
You mean to grow your way out?
Well, I mean, to inflate your way out. There's no growing. There's no growing here. The only way that you make the debt to GDP something where we can pay the interest on the debt is you make everything massively expensive. I don't know if there's any other play at all if they want to keep this world system in place. I think they want Americans to just sit down and take it. So I think what I say, not pain and suffering, it's discomfort and inconvenience. Until America has a large level of discomfort and inconvenience, then say, all right, give us a little bit of this of our convenience back, and I'll accept the the crappier prices and the lower standard of living. Just give it back to me. Give me back my Super Bowl. Give me back my beer.
Just saying death to America, is that enough? No, probably not, right? Probably not. That's not going to do it.